In our 5th year together, Aaron proposed. He promised me the wedding of the century, and I said yes without a moment's hesitation, eagerly counting down the days. The wedding never came. Instead, I received a different kind of delivery. A pile of photos, sent anonymously by his secretary. In the quiet of my room, as I opened the box, disbelief gave way to a crushing, suffocating reality. My breath caught as I looked at the images. 300 of them, showing Aaron completely naked with Maya, his new secretary. Today marked her 100th day at work. The air felt thin, and I bit my lip, fighting the urge to stop breathing entirely. Soon after, the phone rang. It was Aaron. He'd been at a social event, drinking heavily. He was at the Howding Hotel, and as usual, he asked me to come pick him up. After we married, this became his routine, meant to reassure me, to prove his availability, his faithfulness. Yet here I was, holding proof of his betrayal. I wiped my eyes, turned off the screen, and ignored his call. Quietly, I put the photos away, hiding them in a drawer. 2 hours later he returned, stumbling out of the car, reeking of alcohol. As I reached for his arm, he violently shook me off. "No sex tonight, my wife is coming to pick me up." "Get lost," he slurred before nearly collapsing. The driver roused him, and when Aaron saw me, his expression shifted, feigning affection. The driver left, and Aaron, still drunk, began murmuring sweet nothings about our future wedding, the one that would make me the happiest person. His words, once comforting, now churned my stomach. I suppressed the urge to vomit. He seemed confused by my stiffness but laughed it off, pulling out a jewelry box. Inside was a delicate, sparkling diamond necklace, the only one of its kind in the city, featured in the local news when it was auctioned. Despite his unsteadiness, he carefully placed it around my neck, tucking my hair behind my ear, whispering his love. He pulled me into an embrace, one filled with passion, yet tainted by the memory of those photos. A sharp, acidic ache overwhelmed me, and the tears I'd held back began to fall again. I couldn't understand how he could love me while entangling himself with her. Somehow, I ended up in bed beside him, softly coaxed to sleep. The next morning he had prepared a full breakfast. A sandwich without mayonnaise, black rice porridge, my favorite strawberries and fried ribs. He remembered everything. Seeing me wake up, he brought me warm water, kissed me and held my hand, guiding me to the table as he watched me eat porridge, just like he used to when I was ill. I hesitated, then spoke. "Aaron, your secretary contacted me yesterday. She said she prepared a big gift for me. What does she mean by that?" The ladle he was using clattered into the bowl. A flicker of panic crossed his face, quickly replaced by the mask of a devoted husband. He ruffled my hair and said not to listen to her, that he'd handle it. He went into his study with his phone. I followed and listened at the door. His voice was restrained as he spoke to Maya. "Did I give you the right to show up in front of my wife? What kind of relationship do you think we have? You better think it over. This is my first and last warning." There was silence, then a gritted teeth command. "You wait for me." When he came out, he acted as if nothing happened, kissing my head and telling me to finish breakfast, mentioning a contract at the company. As soon as he left, my body trembled uncontrollably, and I wept. Yesterday, I could almost convince myself the photos were fake. Today it was complete despair. This relationship was clearly ending. That evening he returned with the cake I liked. But seeing it now, knowing what he'd done, I nearly gagged. I told him I was tired and had no appetite. He fell asleep holding me. The next day, while he was at work, I threw the cake away. That night he came home late again. Even though the next day was my graduate school graduation ceremony, he maintained his perfect facade. He woke up early, prepared food, sent me to school, and handled various matters, drawing admiring glances for his youth and success. His gaze was fixed on me, adoring and focused, as if I were his entire world. If I hadn't seen those photos, I might have believed it all. I forced a bitter smile, unable to meet his eyes. The ceremony began, but Aaron's phone rang incessantly. When he finally answered, his irritation melted into calm after a few words from the caller. He apologized and turned to leave, whispering that he had to take care of wedding dress photos, that his assistant would stay with me, and that he'd transferred money for expenses. He left abruptly, not waiting for my response. I watched him go, knowing his excuse was a lie. I no longer believed anything he said. Just after the group photo, I received a text from Maya. "Come home, there's a surprise." My brow furrowed. She sent another. "Don't you want to see another sight of Aaron? Hurry up, I'll open the door for you." It was December, not particularly cold, but I felt like I was freezing, breaking into a cold sweat. The 1-hour journey home felt compressed into 30 minutes, driven by a desperate need to confront the truth. I arrived and peered through a crack in the door. My pupils dilated, my breath and heartbeat stopped. My eyes locked onto the scene. 2 entwined figures, moving from the bedroom through the living room towards the entrance of my art studio. "Aaron, I want to try the art studio," Maya's playful voice called out. "No, don't mess up my wife's place," Aaron scolded. "But I want to try, Aaron. I brought a lot of things today. The studio has good lighting so you can see better, and you can paint on me however you like." For just a second, desire overtook reason in Aaron's expression. He picked Maya up and carried her into my studio. My heart, suspended in dread, finally shattered. I stumbled out of the house and vomited, then sat dazed on the ground for who knows how long. My phone rang again. It was Maya, still eager to push me out. Her message dripped with provocation. "I'm afraid Aaron hasn't given her anything good and she's getting desperate. See clearly, the dream of the wealthy has ended. Now that you're awake, just roll away. The only one who can stand by Aaron inside is me." With trembling hands I replied, "Since you want to rise so badly, help me leave, and the position of Mrs. Aaron will be yours." Maya, always resourceful, immediately bought me a plane ticket and arranged the itinerary. She even secured a spot for me to study under an artist. The plane was scheduled to take off in a week, as if she feared I might change my mind. But Aaron intercepted that plane ticket before I ever held it in my hands. "Wife, you're going out to have fun. Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. "The company has stabilized recently, and I have time. I'm not comfortable with you going out alone." Without letting him finish, I cut in coldly. "I wasn't going out. I bought the wrong ticket. Just throw it away for me." Regretfully, he tore up the ticket, and my initial plan to leave had to be reworked. Although I tried to explain it away, my sudden change in attitude was too obvious, making Aaron uneasy. He started putting his work aside, devoting himself entirely to taking care of me at home, doing everything personally. Even when my gastritis flared up and I got up in the middle of the night to vomit, he didn't mind at all, cleaning up the mess. "Wife," he said, "unknowingly we have been together for 5 years. From the moment I first met you, I knew you would only ever be my bride. I truly love you more than anyone else. Wife, don't listen to the voices from the outside. Just believe in me." Aaron anxiously tightened his hold on me, afraid that I might leave. I met Aaron when I was 8 years old. My adoptive father was drunk and abusive. I had angered him, and he threw me into the river, intending to drown me. It was Aaron who happened by, pulling me out along with a group of friends. Seeing how pitiful I was, he brought friends to my house every day to keep an eye on whether my adoptive father would hit me. He even had his father send a bodyguard. But as soon as the adoptive father made a move, the bodyguard acted first. Although the adoptive father was angry, he couldn't provoke the Fu family, and after a few times, he became more restrained. I no longer had external injuries, and he treated me well. Since we were young, if there were good things, they were always given to me. That's how we naturally ended up together. We got engaged in our sophomore year, and if it weren't for Maya, I might have truly believed he still loved me as he always had. He whispered sweet nothings in my ear, but I lowered my gaze and didn't respond, pretending to be asleep. At least that way, I didn't have to interact with him as if nothing had happened. The next morning, Aaron was ready to take me to see the wedding venue. To avoid talking with him on the way, I closed my eyes and pretended to doze off. Aaron thought I was just feeling unwell and instinctively reached for my hand, but before he could, I stuffed my hands into my pockets. He was taken aback, opening his mouth, but no sound came out. The car, which had been moving steadily, suddenly swerved sharply. The immense inertia threw us forward together, and as I rolled onto the ground, Aaron pulled me up tightly into his embrace, using his body as a shield. His expression was severe, darker than ever. I raised my eyes to the rearview mirror and saw two large vehicles in pursuit. I stretched out my hand to protect his head, but he took it down and held it against his chest. "Be good, don't move. I'm fine, just lie down." As soon as his voice fell, there was a bang, and the car window shattered into pieces. Shards of glass fell onto Aaron, leaving streaks of blood on his once clean face and neck. The blood even splattered onto my face. The next second, another impact struck the car. Aaron kept protecting me as we collapsed onto him and were taken to the hospital. He was scheduled for a series of examinations. Aside from some bruises, he only had a mild concussion. The feeling of having survived a disaster left me somewhat dazed. After quickly thanking the doctor, I returned to Aaron's side to take care of him. "Wife, I'm really fine. Don't worry about me anymore, but you must have been scared, right? Sorry. It's my fault for dragging you into this. I promise this is the last time." Looking at Aaron on the hospital bed, his pale face marked with unhealed bloodstains, he was still blaming himself. My once silent heart stirred again, and I was certain that Aaron still loved me. It was just that this love was mixed with a lot of dirt. I caught a glimpse of the phone that had been vibrating under his weight and forced a smile. Then I made an excuse to leave, saying I needed to go back to get some clean clothes. After leaving the ward, I didn't walk away but stood by the next room, waiting. I only approached the door after Maya appeared. "Find out which family has set their sights on Cindy." As if I were already dead, "I can only wait for 2 days at most. After 2 days they must pay the price." Maya's voice reached my ears. "Aaron, the hospital is quite exciting. Why refuse? Miss Cindy has already driven home and won't be back for a while. So let me keep you company this time. You can play with me however you like, okay?" The sound of torn fabric responded to her. Aaron cursed softly a few times and pulled her up from the ground. Soon the room was filled with soft rustling cries. My already tense nerves completely snapped under the sounds of sulking and angry roars. The rekindled love was utterly shattered in that moment. Aaron had been hospitalized for half a month. By the time he was discharged, our wedding date had also arrived. The wedding was grand, with an overwhelming number of details to manage before and after. Aaron insisted on not letting me worry, yet he busied himself with everything. Only when I was putting on makeup did I have time to come and take a look to see if it was beautiful or not, whether I liked it or not. This wedding dress was designed by a friend of his and absolutely deserved me. At today's wedding, we will witness each other's most beautiful selves and then vow to be together forever. When it came to being together forever, joy and obsession shone in Aaron's eyes. I didn't answer, just staring at the exquisitely adorned woman in the mirror, remaining silent for a long time. Wearing the wedding dress I had longed for years, I should have felt happy, but now I only felt it as a shackle. Aaron thought it was a surprise and was momentarily stunned, affectionately ruffling my hair. "All right, husband. I'll go check the details one last time. See you in a bit." He kissed my cheek and cheerfully pushed the door open to leave. As soon as Aaron left, the staff in the room erupted in excitement. "Miss Cindy, you are just too beautiful. You will absolutely be the most stunning bride. I dare say, in all my years in this profession, I've never seen a groom as deeply in love as Aaron. Miss Cindy, you are so lucky. You will definitely make the news. Aaron's affection and your beauty will make every married woman envious. According to Aaron's plans, this will surely be a wedding for the ages, and when you make your entrance, flowers will fall from the sky. I couldn't hear a word of the leader's praise, only managing to maintain a forced smile. I knew I wouldn't be getting married. The object of envy, the most beautiful bride, would definitely not be me. I didn't want to spend my whole life feeling jealous, sad, hurt, and broken because of him, trapped in emotions forever, even if he was Aaron. Most of the guests had entered the venue. I made an excuse to send the staff out and waited alone in the dressing room for 10 minutes. Maya arrived, her bridal makeup already done. As soon as she walked in, she excitedly stared at me. I stood up and handed her the wedding dress that I had long since taken off. She smiled even wider, slipping it on without even looking. The plane ticket is in my bag. Don't worry, I bought several plane tickets and there are people on each flight. Aaron won't be able to find you for a while. There's also a bank card in the bag with 500,000 in it. Take it. Once I'm settled, I'll give you more. The demand is that you never come back again. You should hurry and leave. The wedding is about to start. The wedding music began to play. Maya covered her face with a white veil, lifted her skirt, and lowered her head as she walked out amidst the support of the crowd. Her steps were very firm, showing no signs of hesitation or guilt. I watched her silhouette, yet I could see a hint of innocence in it. Perhaps even now, she still believed that Aaron loved her too. Maya believes that if the bride were to be her, Aaron would not dismantle his identity in front of so many guests for the sake of his reputation. She also thinks that without me, the mistress of the Fu family would only be her. I didn't shatter her dreams. I just took her things and changed into her clothes to blend in with the crowd after she left. As I walked from the backstage to the lobby, I lowered my head and quickly passed by. But when I reached the door, my footsteps uncontrollably came to a halt. I turned my head and took one last look at the man shining brilliantly under the stage lights. At this moment, he joyfully curled the corners of his mouth, eagerly gazing at the slowly opening door. The grand door slowly opened, and the bride whom everyone had been eagerly awaiting gradually appeared, causing an instant hush to fall over the crowd. Why does this feel different from what I saw before? The wedding dress doesn't fit. It can't be a last-minute change, right? Keep your voice down. I can see Aaron's not looking well. In the arena of 100 people aside from Maya, who was immersed in her own world on stage, the faces of the others were not looking good. Especially Aaron. He stared at Maya with gritted teeth. Why you? What about my wife, Cindy? Maya didn't care at all. She stepped forward, walking up to Aaron. What, Cindy? I'm the bride, Aaron. Without waiting for him to finish, Aaron pushed her out. He glared with bloodshot eyes at the bodyguard standing below the stage and roared, "What are you standing there for? What do you think I pay you for? Go find someone now." As soon as the bodyguard left, Maya stepped forward and hugged Aaron. "Honey, don't look for Cindy anymore. She's gone. It's our wedding now. Let's hurry and go through the process." Aaron heard her voice, and his pupils suddenly widened. He suddenly grabbed her neck in disbelief. "Aaron, with so many people, what are you doing?" Aaron's originally rosy complexion instantly turned a shade of ashen gray. Shock and sorrow overlapped. His body trembled uncontrollably, as if bearing the weight of an earth-shattering event. "What do you mean Cindy is gone? What exactly did you do? Did you marry her? Have you even looked at yourself to see if you're worthy? How dare you compare yourself to Cindy when you're someone who shamelessly offers your body as a bargaining chip? Haven't I told you not to mess with Cindy? I'm giving you one last chance. Hand Cindy over immediately, or I will make you wish you could live and wish you could die." He stumbled for a moment, yet his hand still gripped Maya tightly as her face turned purple and she was about to suffocate. Aaron suddenly kicked her in the stomach. The force of the kick sent Maya flying several meters away. The purple face immediately turned pale, and Aaron held his head. After a few uncomfortable shakes, I knew this was a symptom of a concussion that hadn't fully healed. "Aaron, what are you pretending to be so deep about? Didn't you raise me? Didn't you give me help? You were the one who cheated first. And when Cindy found out the truth and left, isn't that your fault? Why don't you blame yourself? What right do you have to push all the responsibility onto me? Aaron's eyes were blood red. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he resembled a vengeful spirit come to claim a life from the underworld. Maya, you're fucking asking for it. Why can't you just be calm? The security team finally managed to pull Aaron away from Maya, his hands still reaching for her throat even as they dragged him back. The guests watched in stunned silence, the grand wedding now a scene of chaos and heartbreak. Maya lay on the cold floor, gasping for air, her perfect makeup smudged and wedding dress torn. She looked up at Aaron with tears streaming down her face, but there was something different in her eyes now. Not the confident seduction I'd seen before, but genuine fear. You don't understand, she wheezed, clutching her bruised neck. I was going to tell her everything. I was going to give her the plane tickets and money so she could leave. I never wanted to hurt anyone. Aaron froze, his wild expression slowly fading to confusion. What are you talking about? From the back of the hall, I stepped forward, still wearing Maya's clothes but carrying my own bag. Every eye turned to me as I walked down the center aisle. The guests parted like the Red Sea, creating a path between the shattered bride and the man who thought he was marrying her. I heard everything, I said quietly, stopping a few feet from where Aaron stood, still held by security. From behind that door in the hospital room. His face went pale, paler than when he'd been bleeding on the hospital bed. Cindy, how long were you going to let me live this lie? I asked, pulling out my phone. How long until you got tired of playing house and decided to get rid of the wife who actually loved you? I pressed play on a recording that had been running since I'd first approached Maya's hospital room. Aaron's voice, filled with rage and desperation, echoed through the grand hall. Find out which family has set their sights on Cindy. As if I were already dead, I can only wait for 2 days at most. After 2 days, they must pay the price. The recording continued, capturing every cruel word, every threat Maya had made while Aaron listened and did nothing to stop it. I looked at Maya, who was now crying openly. You were never going to let me go, were you? You were just using me as a pawn in whatever game you were playing. Maya shook her head frantically. No, I swear. I bought those tickets because I felt guilty. I was going to confess everything to him and help you escape. I never meant for this to happen. Aaron's shoulders sagged as the truth settled in. He looked around at the destroyed wedding, at the horrified guests, at the woman he'd been about to marry. A woman who'd been recording his betrayal while he was too busy being unfaithful to notice. So what happens now? He asked quietly, his voice barely audible. I smiled. Not a happy smile, but not a sad one either. Just resolved. Now I finally get to plan my own wedding. And you get to explain to your family why their precious son spent his wedding day trying to strangle his mistress while his wife watched from the back of the room. I turned to the crowd, raising my voice so everyone could hear. For those of you wondering, yes, there will be a society wedding. But it's not the one you were invited to today. It's going to be small, private, and there will only be one guest. The man I'm actually going to spend my life with. As I walked toward the exit, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Peace. Behind me, I could hear the chaos continuing, but I didn't look back. The wedding of the century had indeed happened, just not the way anyone expected. And the best part, I was the only one who got exactly what I wanted.